Welcome to Between the Pages. I'm your host, MarKela, and tonight is a good one. Tonight we have the one and only Author Natavia. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing well. Where are you joining us in from?
Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh, Maryland. How's the weather up there right now?
I would say it's like 70.
Okay.
Nice. It's real nice. It's real nice.
Yeah. It ain't bad. It's really hot here. Really, really hot. So we're here for a purpose, and that's just the return pages of Author Natavia. So we're gonna start with the beginning. How did you get started with writing?
Reading. I
Reading.
was an avid reader when I was young. I started reading urban novels when I was like 12 or 13. And then I started like writing journals and stuff like that. So those stories just became, you know, fictional stories, I should say. So that's how I got started.
Okay, okay. And anything inspired you? Did you have like an author you looked up to at the
Quan,
time?
Quan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's my
Okay.
number one. That's the number
That's
one.
strictly all way.
All the way, honey.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Animal all in. Oh man. Like that
The
is
Hood Rat
all in.
series, Section 8, like the whole everything. All of it.
That is. So what we're gonna do is ask you the biggest question of all. How many books do you have published?
50.
50. That's a lot. How many years you got under your belt?
16.
Did you think you'll be here?
Actually, no, to be honest.
Mm,
I didn't think so. I never thought my work would be published.
really?
Hmm.
It just was like not in the space that you felt like, yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, so I self-published my first book when I was
Mhm.
like 19 and it didn't do what I wanted to do. I will never
Yeah.
forget my first check was like $20.
Mhm.
And it kind of like it just turned me off. So, but I just kept writing, but I just wasn't pressed to release any books or like publish any more books until like years later. So I actually I just never thought I'll be here.
Yeah, yeah. And people get into the game and they do see that number. That's like $20 or some change or some cents and stuff. And so what kept motivating you to continue to just write?
So I think what motivated me was I honestly, okay, so I sent my submission into like just like these publishers. I was reading like books from like TBRS books. And I was just seeing like the submissions in the back of the books and I was just submitting. And honestly, I was just doing it just to see. I wasn't even waiting for a response. I wasn't even like thinking of like a response. Like I just wasn't thinking about that. I was just like just testing. I was like, well, let me just see. Like, I was just curious. So I submitted my first three chapters and then like the next day the publisher hit me. I was like, "Hey, I love your manuscript, and I was wondering if you would like to sign with the company, the publishing company." So that's how it took off. But I didn't think it was gonna do anything. Honestly,
Just messing around,
I
young and
was
trying.
just messing around. I was actually just bored messing around, and I just had like these. I actually had the whole book done, but I was like, let me just send these three chapters, and
Mhm.
it just was like popping off, popping every time. So
That's awesome. So that is a testament to say like don't give up. Like you gotta keep on pushing, gotta um keep on pushing. Even when you saw that $20, I know that was like letting you know like, oh, this
it.
ain't it.
So the thing is about the $20, right? So I had a job already, so I wasn't
Mhm.
even. It wasn't even the money. It was just the fact that I just wanted to publish a book. But the fact that I received the $20 check, I'm like,
Yes.
is it really worth me putting? Because I put my own money into self publishing my first book. So I'm just like, is it worth me putting my money into? So it was more so like I just didn't think it was worth it. So I continue writing though. Like I never stopped writing. I just wasn't
Yeah,
pressed about publishing my work.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So you in the business now. Where in the 50 book that you was like, okay, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually writing. At
Oh
what
no,
book?
I want to say my first series.
What was that?
Who Wants That Perfect Love Story anyway? Like my first book
Mhm.
published went number one.
Tell me a little bit about that book.
Who Wants That Perfect Love Story anyway?
It's
So I wrote the book because I was going through something, as far as in like just self-esteem issues and things like that. And originally, the character, she was like a slim character. You know, she had like a lighter complexion or whatever, because you know that was like popular back in the old urban fiction days. So I had a character, and she just, you know, she was just like the stereotypical character, the main female character. So I was going through something, and I'm just like, you know what? I want to change this character and make her look like I want her to look like me.
yeah,
And I want her to find love, and I want her to be with somebody that appreciate her for her. So that's how I came up with that series. Just the fact that, you know, a plus size woman and just finding love and just being respected through all walks of life. And it was just one of those books that I put a lot of my
blood, sweat, and tears in.
emotional feelings in there.
Yeah,
Like it was emotional, like, but it helped me, honestly, it helped me boost my self-esteem up, and ever since I just was like, yeah.
so did that book do that for you, or would it do that for any other girl that was dealing with something?
Actually, it did it for a lot of other women too, because when I first dropped it, I had like a lot of readers in my inbox
Hmm.
let me know, like, you know, thank you for writing this type of book, because, you know, I'm plus size too, and they don't, you know, a lot of authors or a lot of books don't represent us in this type of way.
Hmm.
So I received like a lot of love and support from that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how do you come up with the subjects in your book?
I freestyle,
Hmm.
but I think a lot of my work comes from just music. Like certain songs, I'd be like, yeah, I could write to this, and I would just come up with a storyline. I'm like, yeah. So it just depends. I realize most of my stories are based off of books that's like for songs that came out in like the 80s and the 90s. So that's why I always tend to like always go back in my books. Like the setting always be like they'll be like early 2000 or in the 90s or the 80s, because that's just like that was the vibe.
It really was the
It
vibe.
was
The
the vibe.
dressing was the vibe.
The
The
music,
music,
the men, like everything was a vibe.
everything was a
Yeah,
vibe. Even when the baggy jeans came in, everything like it just it
it
was
was
just a vibe.
a vibe. The 90s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s was they were late. They were late.
I mean, and I know, we 80s babies, and it sounds crazy that we still like that, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I just the music was different. Um, it was dance workout music. I swear it was.
And a lot of the songs were like deep feelings. Like people used to pour their heart out in these songs. Now the songs is like, you hear, but it don't really get you. It don't pull on feelings out of you like that.
That's true because when authors has come on and be like, "Oh, I got this after listening to a song or whatever," I personally had stopped listening to music because music then had a place of putting you at a time zone. Like it
It
has a
did.
place of your memory thinking of, oh, this and R. Kelly took you here, or Keith Sweat took you here. And
Definitely
music
keep
had a
sweat.
way, yes, music had a way of taking you back. I mean, let's be honest, you could be in a whole nother relationship, in a whole nother world, cross the whole other state, and the song would come on, and that song would take you back to that past relationship, back to that past thing. So like music was way deeper then.
It
Yeah.
was. And even in the early 2000s, like it just like I said, the music now I listen to it and I love it, but I don't really think the music now like it doesn't it doesn't give me that like, oh, I want to write to this or I
Right.
want to do this to that. Like, but when I play my old jams, like my soul jams, my old like R&B and all of that, then it's like, yeah, I can write to this. Like,
I see
I can
that.
get with it.
I see that. So how do you come up with the titles to your book? Because who wants a
Um,
perfect love story anyway? It's like,
that came from Beyonce's song. And she was like, "Who wants that perfect love story
yeah.
anyway?" That's how I came up with it.
Okay. Now what about your other books?
I think a lot. I think songs and they had a lot to do with my titles for the most part.
Yeah.
Some of them, like not all of them, but some of them did, some of them didn't. But the ones that didn't come from like any songs or anything, I I just had to
Just
come up with something.
right,
I just had to
right,
come up with
right.
something.
Now, with your characters, are they like now we know you go in both worlds. So right now we're gonna go into the urban fiction. Your characters, are they like people you know or just people in you make up?
A lot of the characters are people I know.
People, yeah. I know it's easy to
Hmm.
like people you know and it just
Yes.
and twist it on there. Now what about your paranormal world?
They come from like the perfect. I feel like when I think of a perfect man, I just think about paranormal characters.
Yeah.
Or I just think of just perfect. Like I just think of paranormal. Like I don't know why. It's hard
Protector?
to even. It's even hard to explain because like for example, my paranormal characters they are their relationships are a little bit more deeper on a deeper level. Like soulmates and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when I think of a perfect relationship, I think of them, like just not the cheating, the protector, the one that's gonna take care of you and things like that. Like it's really hard to find that. So I just feel like when I get into my paranormal zone, I just be thinking like this is the perfect type of dude.
Right. Now they do have like that soul mate connection, but then we
Right.
have like the soul tie connection that I mean theirs is more so I don't know what the word is. Like they
It's
really
more it's more
territorial
like
and
it's more
um
like it's like eternity too, like
yeah,
it's just like a forever type of thing. Like
yeah.
they're they're not gonna break up. Like they are forever bonded. So
Well
that's
humans can they can break up and still have to go forward and they soul may be on a whole nother side of the world, living a whole nother life. Get that? Yeah, I get that completely. So out of the two, what is your favorite genre to write in? It's hard to say because I know you go in between. I know. So we're gonna say paranormal, street lit, urban fiction. Which one is your first one favorite?
I'm gonna say my street lit.
Really?
My street lit. Only because I don't think I would be able to do urban paranormal if it wasn't for the other books. I feel like that's what put me there to do paranormal. So I gotta go with the urban, just my other genre books.
Yeah, yeah, street lit. You know that I like that. I like that. So now tell me about how did you get into paranormal?
I got into paranormal because I have always been into like horror. I always been into just like, movies like Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh God,
Um, I like movies like with monsters in it, and I just always been into that. And so when I seen Twilight, and I'm just like, there's no representation of us in this. You know, like there's no, and you know, and then you have your books like Harry Potter, like you just have all these books, and then when it comes to us, you don't really get that. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm just gonna try it out, and I actually wasn't. I didn't plan on going this far with it. It was supposed to, like, when I dropped Beauty to His Beast, it was just supposed to be a Halloween thing. You know, it was just supposed to be a Halloween book, and I was just gonna be done with it. And like I said, it just took off, and people was just like, "Oh, I like this. Is like urban, but it's paranormal." And then I was able to get people that don't even like that genre to read it because they said like it's still read like other books. It just had like a paranormal twist to it, so it wasn't really like that far off. So
Right.
they was like, so then it became a series, but I didn't have any intentions on doing anything with that.
I always say, because you know, we want to read it too.
Right.
It just be different. I mean, I guess when, of course, you know, you read other people work and stuff, and they don't use the type slang or they're not in the culture and stuff like that. So it's kind of harder to read, although we started that way, but we still want to read the mystery thrillers. We want to have our spin on it. We still want to read the BDSM books. We just want our spin on it. The paranormal, we just want our spin on it. So, like, thank you for putting the spin on it to where we are able to read them as well. And let's not get into how detailed you are when it comes to your intimate scenes. You are very detailed. So I mean, it be all in one. It be the BDSM with the werewolf with the earth all in one. So I thoroughly enjoy them. I thoroughly enjoy them.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, what is a genre you haven't written in but would love to?
I want to try. I don't know. I want to say comic books. I know this genre is way off, but I do want to do comic books. I want to do like dark superhero comic books. Not, I'm not nothing like Spider-Man, but something like Spawn, but just like with the more urban twist to it, more of our slang in it. And that's what I want to get into. That's my next thing.
I like that. I really do. And I could see you doing really well at that too. Now, you said you were a reader before you start writing. Do you still read?
Not as nah. I haven't read a book in a long time, honestly. And the only reason why I do not read like because I know like a lot of people have some similarities in their books, and that's just something that you can't get away from. Like if you write urban fiction, you're gonna have something that's similar to your storyline. So what I do is I don't want that on my conscience, so I just don't read anybody's book because I don't want to read something and say, let me go change my storyline because I don't want it to sound like her storyline. And that was becoming something that when I was still reading, I was doing that a lot and it was just putting stress on me. So I just feel like I'd rather just not know what's in other people's books so I won't have to just keep changing mine up.
You do subconsciously do that. Like it's human, it's natural. I mean,
Right.
you thinking, yeah, people read to get inspired or especially when they are in writer's block. So how do you deal with writer's block yourself?
I read my catalog sometimes. Um, to get out writers block, I just gotta read my old work and just be like, okay, like, just to get a feel of it. And then it's just like it works. Sometimes I would just have to go back to the beginning and see what I could fix. A lot of times I do change my story up because I'm a freestyle writer. So my story has changed. I've changed it like 4 to 5 times before it's even published.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I changed my stories up a lot. Not too much, but I not like the whole book, but the plot changes a lot. And so when the plot changes, I gotta go back and I gotta change stuff just to make it consistent with the plot. So I do that a lot.
If you
But
just
that's how
have
I get out writer's block.
It's a way to get out of there for real. So I mean, a lot of people read, a lot of people watch movies, listen to music, everything. I mean, they do a lot of stuff just to kind of get themselves out of the funk, but it can last like a long time. How long do yours last sometimes? What's the longest yours has to last?
Hmm. I don't think I've ever had writer's block. So okay. So I think it's been like 6 months, but I don't call it writer's block because I was writing. It's just that the book wasn't published. Far as in like just not writing at all, I don't think I've ever went like a whole full 2 weeks without writing nothing at all. Like I'm always writing something, whether it's a paragraph or a chapter, but I'm always writing something.
I can vouch for that, y'all. This woman is very hard working. Anytime you talk to her, she is working. Anytime you speak with her, she is working. She's very, 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 very hard working. Um, and even watching her in work has been an honor because she is she do her research a lot. So tell us about how much time it spends to do research with these paranormal books.
I'm gonna say I it takes, let me see. It probably take me daily, like just on average. I want to say it take me like an hour or so to do research and just get it together. Then it probably take me a couple of hours, sometimes even a couple of days, just to put that research, like weave it into like the book. But it takes time. It does take time though,
Right.
because you got to make it. Even though you do your research, you still gotta put it in a way that people could like grasp it, like they can understand it. So
That
that
is
takes
not
time.
reading like it's off paper, like just Google, like it ain't reading like that. So you have to kind of make it into your own words and then, like you said, weave it into the story as
And then you
well.
gotta add your own history to it. Like, even though I do my research, I always gotta add a little something to it to make it seem like something else. Cause I don't know, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Now, walk me through a typical day in Natavia's world. So how do you start getting yourself motivated for the next book? Like, what do you need first? You need the cover, need the characters' names, you need, what do you need?
I think I need the characters' names more so because I have a lot of. It's really the character's name, like the character's name. And then I think my thing is like if I want it to be street lit, if I want it to just be like an urban romance type of book, or if I want it to be a urban paranormal, like, or if I want it to be one of those books where it's like a lot of comedy in it, like I always just got to figure out which one it's gonna be.
Now let's talk about your last release, Jusora, on the paranormal side. How did you come up with Jusora?
Um, so I came out with just Sora, just out of the blue. I posted a sneak peek in my paranormal group. And I'm just like, yeah, I want to do another werewolf story. I want it to be different than my Beauty to His Beast. That's a big thing of mine. Like, I don't want any of my paranormals to have the same storyline. So I want to do something different. So I think that was the main focus, just being different. And I just came up and I just dropped a sneak peek and I was writing it. And honestly, when I started to story, I didn't have a clear view of what I wanted the story to be about. I just know it was gonna be a werewolf and then a woman fall in love with the werewolf. I didn't have like the background story yet. I didn't have any of that. I just wanted them to meet each other and then it just take off from there. Like I didn't have, and then it just started just coming all together once I just kept writing. I did not know what the story was gonna be about, to be honest.
You guys have not read Jusora, please go get it. It is, um, it is like a soap opera. It is. It's full of drama. I don't know what to do with the human side with Raheem, and then you got Wolfgang. I mean, so definitely go get the story. It is on Amazon right now. So tell me, it is a completed series as well. So tell me about Have You Ever, your last book on urban fiction.
Have you ever?
Mhm.
That's another one that I just came up with. Well, actually, no, I take that back. So we were supposed to, me and a few other authors were supposed to be like doing a story based off, not based off of, but just something like a play on Love at the Lockup. I don't know if you're familiar with Love at the Lockup,
I
but so we were supposed to do something like that, right? So everybody else kind of like flaked out or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so I'm gonna just keep my story. And it was initially titled, I can't remember the title. I don't even think we picked the title yet, but we was all supposed to have like the same title, and and just like change like and put the names on the cover. But it was gonna be like a chronicle. So I'm like, you know what? Since I got my storyline together, I'm gonna just keep going and I'm gonna just change the title. Well, I'm gonna just put Have You Ever? And that's how I came up with the book. I actually didn't have any plans on really doing a book like that. It just, like I said, it just came together because I'm not really into romance like that. And I just felt like that book was a little bit on the romance side.
It was a little different for you, but it was like for it was a fool. The guy that was locked up was a child coming
Then,
home, everything.
yeah,
He was
it
a whole fool.
was that
He was a whole fool. He was,
he was
but I'm glad. One thing I do like is you don't really make the girls weak. I thought she was just gonna be one dodo bird for him, but she was not. She wasn't really on it like this.
I
So
felt like she was on her game. A few
yeah,
people said she was weak, but I honestly, personally didn't get that because I felt like she wasn't even like like even though he had a plan to like sabotage her, it never fell through because it was like she was two steps ahead. Like once she realized like he was this type of person, she kind of started like just paying attention to everything. So I couldn't even say she was weak because none of his plans ever fell through. You see, like for her to be like a
right.
damsel in distress, like she was up on her game. So I didn't think she was weak, but
Think she was weak either. I didn't think she was weak because I mean it was moments in there where she could have been very weak and acted very naive and oblivious to the situation, but she really kind of waited to see. I mean, he was dang near about ready to come home and she was turning it up,
right,
so
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
think she was weak, but when she got home, honey, and them folks was in her house, I was too
yeah.
through. I
Yeah,
was
that moment was like, no, I can't do this. Like it just goes to show. I think I also did it because it's just like that story. It's like it happens a lot. Like you meet somebody, like you don't meet them like in person or anything like that. Like a lot of women have fallen in love with people that were
representation.
yes, and so they
They
don't.
represent
People like a man can sweet talk you in a way where you just think everything is just like just peaches and cream, like everything is just perfect, and that stuff like it just I'm telling you, a lot of people fall for that. So she fell for that. And that just goes to show the power of the tongue because you can just talk somebody into falling in love. And then it's just
oh
that
yeah.
happens a lot.
You ain't got nothing to do but talk to me. You ain't got nothing but
Right.
time.
So you can have nothing but time. So you really, really into me. Like you really into me, and then that, and you know how we are. We gonna fall in love with that because a man calling you up first of all, you know what he said. You know he ain't running the streets. You know he ain't laid up with somebody else. Like you know what he said. So he has nothing but time. So he constantly calling you how your day been. Like just asking you like just really paying attention to you. And that's what we really be wanting though. That's what we want. But and a lot of women fall for that. So
But it's like, what happens with the brain once you get out? Because your brain, you're capable, like in prison or locked up or anything, that shows that you're capable of what I need. You know what I need. Like
Right.
it makes us think like, okay, you know I want the time, you know I ask how my day going, you know that's what I cook. You know, you want those type of things, but then when you decide, I don't know if half the brain stop working. Because they say some men think on, men think on one side of the brain and women use both sides of the brain.
Correct.
But do your brain stop working? And then you just like, is it too much to think about? And then you like, I'm not, it's too much to think about. I can't even think
It's
about
just
no.
that I feel like a lot of it is, oh, me personally, I kind of feel like when somebody's doing time, just like it's like almost like the same as drugs, like whatever age you were when you start getting high, or the age that you went into prison. Let's say you was 18, you got locked up, and you like confined. You're never going to get out of that 18. Your mindset is just permanently on 18. So you know the right things to say, but when you get out, your mentality has like it's stuck at 18. So you trying to like catch up, and then you starting to catch up, and you realize like you know how 18-year-olds think like, oh, I ain't settling down with nobody, or oh, I ain't having one girlfriend, or I want to party, I want to hang out with my homeboys, this and that. So it's kind of like you really start to see their age. And when Dean got locked up, he was like 18, so his mind frame was just he didn't know how to act in a real world. He was just like a teenager. So that happens a lot though.
Yes, it happens a lot. Because you got some people that's out here that still don't grow up mentally at
Mm-mm.
all. Never. They can be 50 and still don't.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I think it has a lot to do with sticking um at where they are too. Now back to the paranormal side with the guy with the guys. So when you do the soulmate stuff, okay, since we on relationships, when you do the soulmate stuff, okay, my thing with the paranormal, it'd be like, you know I'm tied to you. And you be still out there doing everything else sometimes too, because sometimes they don't be like they until they mature, that's when they stick with their soulmate. But other than that, when they mate with somebody, the woman be stuck with them, they don't kind of be doing too much. Like the woman be stuck with them, but the man, if he ain't with her right now, he still be doing his own thing. And
Yeah.
somewhere in the books,
That's
but
how it is.
her soul be tied to his. Like she be mated with him, and her scent be, it's to let the other males know like that's his, but he still kind of like not be, So sometimes,
Well, that's when you that's when the research comes in, because you know in the in reality
uh,
wolves only have one mate.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why when I do the werewolf stories or whatever, they have one mate, and that's because in reality wolves only have one mate forever. So that's where that part comes in. As far as in like the other things, like yeah, it'd be like that.
yeah. I mean, I like the protectiveness with the paranormal stories. It'd be like minds and
And
which
they take care of you too, like not just like they kind of like I'm they kind of like cater, like everything is just has a deeper meaning to me. Like the whole giving birth like to the next alpha, and the whole like the ceremonies that they have, the way they praise the newborn and things like that. Just everything to me just have a deeper meaning to it.
back to like how we used to it, tradition and sometimes at some point.
Correct. And then you tie it in and you mix little history into it, because that's how, back in it, like the tribes used to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I just feel like all of that just has like a deeper meaning. That's all. It's different.
With you writing in like the 80s, 90s, to early 2000s, and then doing the paranormal with the tradition and stuff like that, do you feel like now we have moved so far away from like structure?
Yes. And
Mhm,
I honestly think that's why I can't write stories that's based off of like
mhm.
now. Like, like I don't think I can do a book that's based like 2024. or 2023. I kind of
Yeah.
feel like I will force myself. The only way I can do it is if I just go back. Like in the life plan say, why do you always your stories start off in a certain, that's because like that's when I felt like love was real. That's when
Yeah.
the music was real. That's when like I just felt like things just had a better meaning to it. And now like everybody, the music now is about perks, lean, and it's cool because
Yeah.
I love rap. I love rap, regardless of how raunchy it is. That's one thing I could say. I love rap from all genres. I mean, from all eras. Um, but when it comes to the R&B, and I feel like that's more so what influenced my stories. I can't write to the R&B now.
That's true.
Like I can't. I love Summer Walker, but I can't write to Summer Walker's music.
Right.
I can write to I mean not Aretha Anita Baker. I could write to
Mhm.
Tony Braxton, Sade.
But even when they come now, like when they come back out with a new song, they still don't, they cater to now. But one thing I do love about TikTok is I feel like TikTok is making things repeat itself in a way because now you seeing Keisha Cole back on stage, Aheem, Ashanti, you seeing them back, coming back out what we used to love. And then it's like it's new to them but not to us. Like, I'll never forget my daughter was saying, she was like, Mama, she was just singing this song. I forgot what it was. Um, she was saying something, and she was like, Mom, you know the song? And I was like, What? What are you talking about? She was like, You know the song? It's by that Fowler. That Fowler. So she was like, wow. And so
You
I was
you said
like,
you was I'm sorry you was breaking up. You said pedophile.
so she was singing a song, but
Uh
she
huh.
was singing Mary J. Blige. I never forget that. And she was like, she was singing another song. She was like, I was like, what you know about this? She was like, Mama, it's by that pedophile. And I was like, oh, and it's so sad that now that's who they know R. Kelly to be in her age, and we would never, we know it's good music, but she was talking about R. And I was just sitting here like, that is so sad that two different eras gonna be thinking two different things about great music. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I
You
was
said,
agreeing with you.
oh yeah, I don't. They got two different things. Okay, so we're gonna start right there, and we're gonna play a game called This or with Author Natavia, guys. So Author Natavia, I'm gonna say this or that, and I'm gonna give you two options, and you tell me which one you like the best. We're gonna start off a little hard, difficult with you, okay? This or that, book bag, paranormal world, boom, or Yeti.
Goon.
Wow.
I think because I grew as a writer with Goon. I didn't grow with the as a writer with Yeti, and I say that because the Goon series has like 7 books in it, and I just felt like I just grew with him, like from when he first met his mate, and then to him being a grandfather. So I just felt it was just a different type of, like I just grew with him as a writer. So
Okay, got it. Book bag. Going back again, paranormal world, Wolfgang or Brick.
I'm gonna say Wolfgang.
Wolfgang. Okay.
Mhm.
What Wolfgang give off that you just like?
So I think I love Wolfgang because of their background. I like their traditional background, and honestly, Brick and them didn't have one because it was like more so sci-fi. And so I actually didn't have to do any research for Brick. Everything was just made up. So it was more so like a fantasy, whereas Wolfgang, their beliefs and their tradition, I just felt like I just like the background of Wolfgang.
Right. Okay. Are we going something lighter? This or that? Champagne or wine?
Champagne.
Champagne, okay,
Mm,
this or that? Club or lounge?
lounge.
All right. Which one are you, Author Natavia? This or that? Are you a ride or die? Or if you on your own?
You talking about a relationship?
Yeah. Ride or die or you on your own?
I'm on my own.
You on your own?
Yeah, ride or die don't work for me.
Ride or, not
I
anymore. What
didn't
I got?
try that before. I'm being selfish this time.
That ride or die stuff. You'll be dying trying to ride. All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
This or that vacation within the states or international?
International.
International. Erotica scenes. This or that. Shower or playroom?
Shower.
I know, so I be saying shower too. Some people be saying playroom, but I be like, shower scenes can be very much so playroom type. Give off that, yeah, definitely. This or that trope. Secret baby or baby mama drama?
Secret baby.
Tell me why you like the secret baby.
I just like the storyline. It's just more. There's more suspense in it.
And are you like me and like need them to hurry up and tell that the baby is theirs, or you want them to drag it?
They gotta tell at least by the middle of the book.
Mhm. See, I be
I'm
hollering
not with
at
the whole going the whole book or whatever. Nah, I want some drama before they find out.
right. All right, which one? Which trump you going with? This or that? Friends to lovers or enemies to lovers?
I think enemies to lovers.
Me too. It's something
Yeah,
about liking each other.
it's something about like me, like somebody not getting along, and then they just really realize they're attracted to each other. I think I like that, but I honestly, it's hard. I ain't gonna lie to you because I actually like both. I like both, but I think enemies to lovers.
Yeah. I think too, because even when we was younger, your parents was like, he just picking on you because he
Because he
like
like you. Yeah.
yeah, he's picking on you. Yeah. All right. Got two more. This or that. Kidnapper turned love interest or marriage for convenience.
Marriage for convenience.
You want the kidnap?
I don't like kidnapping stories.
I love him. Just don't kidnap me, but I love him.
I don't like kidnapping
Really?
storyline. Hmm.
What is it about it for you?
I just don't. I just feel like it's a little for me.
Okay.
It's just a little. I don't want to say the word because I don't want to offend nobody. It's a little
No, this
cringing to me. It's like a little cliche. I don't like
is
it.
okay. What? It's
I
a
feel like
lot
it's.
of.
Oh, I want to say it's overused. It's
Oh,
overused
got it.
in the
Okay,
urban
okay.
fiction genre. Almost every urban fiction, the kingpin's wife is always getting kidnapped, and I'm like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm just done with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing you don't kind of like base your stuff off a trope thing. You just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you don't really do like, okay, I'm doing secret baby on this one, or I'm
Correct.
doing
It will
yeah,
just pop up, but that don't be like the main thing. It will just
yeah.
probably like one of the many subplots, but it don't be like the main plot.
Okay. The last one, you author situation. This is that. This is you. All right, arranged marriage. You gotta marry a complete stranger. Or one night stand and you get pregnant and keep the baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the marrying a stranger.
Everybody's
Yeah,
like, "MarKela, what is you talking about? I am not about
yeah,
that."
I'm gonna have to go with that.
Different though. They be like mad at me. There's some people like, I ain't got time for that, so just give me the baby. Um,
Nah.
so tell me about how has your journey as an author been so far for you?
It's been it's been like a dysfunctional relationship.
Okay.
1 minute I love it, the next minute I hate it. 1 minute we vibing, the next minute we not vibing. It's a dysfunctional relationship.
Do you think like for you, are you at the place, are you going along the place you want it to be, or you feel like you should be further along, or are you on track in your eyes?
I feel like I know, I feel like I know for a fact I can get further if I put in that extra, work. But I'm just comfortable with this for right now. Eventually, yeah, but I think I'm just more so in my comfort zone for right now. But once I get into I want to get into the comics, and once I want to get start into that, I think I'm gonna just start putting myself out there more. But right now, I just, I don't really put myself out there like that. Like I don't do the promotion. I know I could put if I promote better, I would get more. Um, I would just gain more attention. But I haven't did that, and I think I really, honestly, I really write for myself. I really write for myself, and then I share with everybody. So my books are for me, versus writing it for others. I write for myself or for anything. So whatever I'm writing is for me. Like sometimes I might be going through something, or I just might be in a dark space. I'm like, oh, let me write something to get out of it, and then I'll share it. So I want to say it's like my diary in a way, but just with fictional characters, and then I just share with everybody. But that's just how I look at it.
I love that answer because that is like I love it. Yes, I love the answer. It is, I guess, coming from poetry. I feel like
Hmm.
everything was like I needed to get it out through
Correct.
writing, and it didn't make. Sometimes in poetry, it don't make a lick of sense because everything is
Right.
metaphors, analogies, and stuff like that. So it ain't making no sense to nobody, but it makes complete sense to
Right.
you.
And I feel like I could probably be further than what I am if I wrote for everybody. But I don't. And I'm not going to start. I tried to do it one time and I didn't like it.
Because it felt forced, right? It
It
feels
felt
like you
forced. I couldn't do
yeah.
it. Like I was trying to, I think it was like the standalone thing. Like a lot of readers like, I like standalones and I want to stand alone. And there was just like certain storylines that they wanted. And I'm like, nah, because when I came in here, like I said, when I first did my book, like when I did my first series, I was going through something. So that's kind of like stuck with me. Like I'm writing for myself. So um and I just share it, but I'm not gonna let nobody tell me what to write. And that's just what it is. So I kind of feel like it's like just having a diary instead of put my own self in there. I'm just using characters to reflect of how I'm feeling at the moment. And every book that I drop, whether it's paranormal or urban, is a piece of me in there.
Right.
So yeah.
I like that. Guys, I was talking to Author Natavia the other day, and I was telling her like I miss the times where people were so. I mean, you guys are. It's like jump in your inbox now. You know what I mean? Like, what a book at? What is it? Where you
Correct.
at? You know, like it's you so accessible now. Like it's just in reach, and like I miss where um people would go off the grid. They would go hiking to write a book. They go to the mountains to write a book. They go to the I don't know, to the beach to hope just go in there to write a book. I mean, and it be for them type of thing. It be for them, and then they finally release it to the world. Or some of them don't release it yet until they was dead. You know, like and then they went. Let me say right, the days were waiting for months. Yes, yes, they would wait. Your readers would wait for it, but I think now
I
it's a
remember
wait.
waiting. I remember
Uh,
waiting. I remember waiting. Like it was to the point where back in the day when I was an avid reader, like just paperbacks. Um, we didn't even know when a book was coming. So I would just pop up at a bookstore just hoping part two was out. And I would just keep going to the bookstore hoping that part two is out. And then it'll be like a whole year later. But that's how it was back then. So we didn't have no other choice but to wait. But
Yeah,
now it's like even if you take 3 months to write a book, it's like, oh, she taking too long or she doing this. And honestly, that's the biggest pet peeve I have of being an author is the fact that I don't like to be rushed. Because like I said, I'm putting a piece of me in here. So I don't like to be rushed. And then I'm not writing for you. I'm writing for me. I'm just sharing it with everybody. But this is I'm writing for me, so that's another thing. Uh that's my biggest that's the only thing I don't like about being a writer.
that was on one of the questions was what is the most difficult part for you have been for writing, about writing, being
Right.
an author. Is that, yeah. I could see that. With even like just waiting, and then too, some people wait to read, until it's completed. You
Correct.
know, they wait to read, and sometimes I feel like sometimes as a reader too, I feel like that's okay because you yourself want to, you know how fast you read and you know you want the book done, and I know these are you guys' livelihood, so it's like okay now I done wrote this book, I'm working on the next
Mhm.
one, but it ain't like that no more. It's just like if they want it like
Yeah. Um, I'm getting to a place where I'm starting to ignore it though.
yeah. And kudos to you because I think I told you before, like I think that's being creative. I think you're not being creative if you're on somebody else's time.
You're
Yeah.
not. You're not. Especially I write lengthy books, so I like to take my time, and I'm a detailed writer, so I really got to take my time.
Now, what has been your favorite part about writing?
Um, honestly, I love all of it. I like the feedback, whether it's good or bad. I just like the fact that people hit me up that I don't know. And I like, like strangers hit me up and say, hey, I love your book. It helped me. I think that's one of the things I love the most is when people hit me up and be like, your book got me out of a funk. I know one woman, she said she lost a family member and she read, I want to say, Don't Come Looking for Love. She said she came across Don't Come Looking for Love, and then the comedy in there just made her laugh.
Mhm.
I just think I look forward to things like that, like people inboxing me like, "Hey, this helped me out, and I was going through something, and I read this." I think that's like the highlight of it. I just be so excited when people inbox me and tell me stuff like that.
With you with the pen is hilarious sometimes. I don't know. It'd be like, where she come up with this from? I don't have a clue what but I'll be loving it because like the lady said, I came in from basically grieving. Like I always been reading, I've always wrote poetry, I always been doing that, got notebooks everywhere. But I think when I lost my mother, it just I didn't know how to that was just in my life. And I didn't know what to do with that. And I knew what depression looked like for me because I've been down that road and I knew what my highs was and my lows was and I was afraid of where I was gonna land on that. So like I just dove in, reading, really bad to where some people call it unhealthy, but whatever. I read and I found like the humor in it, like crazy stuff that you come up with, crazy stuff authors would say, would just have me dying laughing in the middle of the night, going over and over again. Cause I would just be like, where they come up with this stuff from? Cause and then you have a way of writing to where it's like a movie. If you guys are in Author Natavia's bookcase or in Author Natavia's paranormal group, then you know we are on the Rewind Wednesdays, where we reading books from the past. And we just got through reading Dear Heart. And if you don't know, Author Natavia graced that cover, looking so beautiful on that cover.
Thank
But
you.
yes, honey, and the girl in there, I was like, she made her a whole. She's going to be a whole god. Just to, I don't know. Her dad got her going through some stuff. Y'all haven't read it. It's called Dear Heart. It's on Amazon as well. And so just the whole thing of that, like coming, like going undercover to be pretending to be somebody else, just so she could be a part of the cartel business or whatever with her daddy. So like I
I
like
got
that.
that. I got that storyline from a article I read about how black women like during slavery they used to disguise themselves as men to fight in the Civil War. So and I'm big on history and I know a lot of history and I always every time I read I'm like, oh, I like that. But
Mhm.
again, but I gotta put my urban twist on it. So I'm like, okay, like, we had women like Buffalo soldiers or whatever, and they would disguise themselves. So let me do something like that. And so then that's how when I came up with Jared, and then she just disguised herself as a man to like join this drug cartel type of thing. So that actually is a part of history though. Because it's like, they didn't believe in women to do this and that. So yeah, a lot of females during the slavery time, they fought in the war disguised as men.
I'm gonna tell you something about you did with Jared. I thought Jared about to get her tail killed.
Hey, she was in a war. It was a battlefield.
Okay, she was
Huh?
falling too hard for the ball, so that's what was about to go on with her,
Oh
real
yeah,
hard.
that's also it kind of remind me of She's the Man. I don't know if you remember that movie with Amanda Bynes and
Yes.
Shannon Tatum.
Mhm.
Yeah, like like I don't know. That's one of my favorite movies.
Tell you what it gave me when I was reading. I was like, I was on my Sierra. It gave me that. Like I was thinking of that. Like
Oh, if I was a thing like the boys song.
yeah, so
That's
I
it.
was thinking of the Sierra when I was reading it or whatever. So with that, now throughout your whole time and being in the industry, what would you say to people that is like trying to get into the industry or want to get into the industry? Like, what would you say to them that want to write?
I would just tell them be careful. My biggest thing is not letting your publisher dictate what to write. I know that some people can't help it, but it's kind of like if this is what you like to write, then that's just what you like to write. And once somebody tells you what to write or tell you, it's just like no longer your creativity. So I always tell people like, always go with somebody that likes what you write or is willing to publish what you write and just stay true to yourself. I feel like a lot of authors they come in this industry and I've seen it. Um and I even had people telling me like when I was doing the paranormal like maybe you should do Caucasian characters to reach like a bigger audience. I'm like, nah. I don't know what it's like to be a white woman. I don't
Mhm.
know what it's like to be a white man. Like that's not my voice. So I'm not doing a book with Caucasian characters, and I don't have no problem with them. But that's just not what I'm going to do. And a lot of people lose themselves when they come into this industry because they come one way and then they just end up writing something that's not what your heart is into. So I always tell people just write what you want to write
Right.
and just stay true to that.
I agree with that. I really do agree with that. So the ending with reviews, how do you personally feel about reviews?
Um, they used to stress me out.
Mhm.
They used to stress me out. And I used to get like, I would see a bad review and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to write. Like, I don't want to write anymore. Now I just take it with a grain of salt. I actually had somebody tell me, the other day, like, this is not my favorite series by you, my Welcome to Low Life series. And I feel like the old me would have been like, more combative. But now I'm just in a place where like I had to tell them like that's cool. Like I'm okay with that. Like it's not for everybody. But I feel like that's one of my favorite series that I've got out. And I just took it with a grain of salt and it didn't even bother me. Like so
Yeah.
I think me and reviews came a long way. And some reviews have helped me though. I will say that. Because it was like some things that I was doing in the books and I wasn't realizing it until I read a review and I had to like catch myself. I'm like, so yeah, I feel like that's constructive criticism is when somebody like tells you something and it can improve your writing going forward. But then you do have some reviews that um personally target you. And I came across a lot of those as well. Like it was just too personal, like talking about me in a review, like Natavia this and she that, and I'm like, this is about the book, like, um, but they don't bother me. And you know what's crazy? I don't read them like I used to.
That's, and I
I
think
don't read
that's
them like I used to. I don't read my reviews like I used to, and I'm cool with, and I feel like it just helps me, like, because I'm sensitive when it comes to my work. Like I said, when I write for me and I share with everybody, so I'm real sensitive when it comes to my work. Like I'm one of those authors that like I really, really like writing, and I never really wanted to be like I always wanted to be a writer, but I just never said, hey, I wanna publish this and that. I just love writing. So I take offense to it when people just like bash my work. But now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like I had to tell myself it's okay. You lose readers, and then I always say you lose readers and you gain more. It's been times where somebody was like, "Oh, I'm not reading your books anymore because you take too long and this and that." And then, like the next day, I got like 5 more people like inboxing me like, "Hey, can I have your catalog? I came across this book." So I just look at it as it is what it is. People move on. I used to that used to be one of my things, like, oh my God, they're not gonna read my books anymore. But people move on, like the new readers come every day. And so I try not to focus on that. So that's why I got back to my old writing style. Because I kind of like try to switch it up. And then when I try to switch it up, I hated it. Like I dropped one book called Project Dreams. And it's crazy because I was like going through something when I dropped that. But I was trying to be different. And let me tell you, I hated that book so bad I took it off Amazon.
mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't me. And I know it wasn't me. So I
Yeah.
just took it off Amazon. I'm like, this is not me. Like it had potential, but it's just the dude just wasn't my type of dude that I normally write about. It was
Mhm.
just like I didn't like it. But to each his own, you live and learn. But I'm sticking to me.
That's the only book I read it is. Yeah, when you
They don't
go
want
now, let's give a little bit about what to look forward to from Author Natavia with her next release.
So I have a few. So I have an exclusive release coming, called City Girl.
Yes, it is.
And that book, a lot of me is in that book. I will say that. And it's just me going down memory lane, and of course it's fictional because I gotta add stuff in there, but it's just it's just like just me growing up and like just growing up in a city and just seeing things and witnessing things. So I will say City Girl has like a lot of real stuff in there that I have encountered when I was younger. And of course, it got a twist to it, but so that's my next release, and then after that, Welcome to the Low Life 4.
Uncle Soul, life is back.
I cannot wait to do that one. That's like
Welcome
one of my favorite series.
welcome to the low life is back. When did you taking a dive back in the street lit?
Welcome to the low life.
Are you gonna do that? Oh, okay, okay.
Cause you know that's the street. That's more so my street lit. Welcome to low life was street. It was very. I feel like it was street. It was like it was raw. But I do have a few books. I'm getting back into my street lit though for sure this year. I got to. I miss it. I miss it.
I, we already done talked about this between on between the pages because MarKela is just love all the other stuff, but I am a first person type of chick. So sometimes I'm like, so yes, definitely dive back into that and give us some street with the first person. Are you excited? Where can we find your books? Because you have like a new website.
Yeah. I need to
So
get back into. I gotta really put some. I got some stuff that I want to put on that website, like bomb exclusive releases. I can't wait. I'm happy about that. Actually, I'm happy
yeah.
about that.
So tell us the name of the website.
NataviaWrites.com. I'm sorry. www.NataviaWrites.com.
Xavier Wrights. Okay. Natavia. It has been a pleasure having you on tonight. Also you just dropped that when you do come back into the paranormal world, you're gonna be going with
Silver Moon City.
Silver Moon City. Yes, Silver Moon City. So
I
yes,
can't wait for that. But it's gonna be. I'm not
you
gonna lie.
working like a slave, I tell you.
Huh?
You working like a slave trying to keep up in all these trying to keep up in the genres. Is that a lot of pressure?
Nah, not really. I just gotta. I'm just trying to get back to my old self.
Yeah.
I used to do this a lot, and I'm just trying to get back into that. So no, it's not. I'm just trying to get these books out. Oh, and I Tinker and Kitty too. I know everybody's waiting for Tinker and Kitty. That's gonna be an exclusive release as well. I don't know when, but it's gonna be on my website as well.
The exclusive release for City Girl is on the website whenever it's
Mhm.
completed. Yes, we'll be looking forward to that. So, Author Natavia, just hold on tight, just in case any of the viewers have any questions they need to ask you or would like to talk to you about. But we have enjoyed you coming on Between the Pages with MarKela. And tonight, guys, we had the one and only Author Natavia. Till next time, bye.